Cassidy, where are you right now? Mom is really worried about where you ran off to. It's the day of your meeting with the guy, and yet you're nowhere to be found.
Mom is still trying to find where I am. I already told her that I'm not going to meet with that guy.
What? Are you going to no-show for the meeting they set up for you?
That's what I've decided. I'm not going to let my parents be the ones to decide who I go out with. That's boring and lame. I want to live a life that I get to decide. So I'm going to wait to marry a man that I find fit for myself instead.
Huh? What are we even talking about right now? You were the one that wanted Mom and Dad to find you a partner to begin with, right? You made such a big deal about how you wanted to marry a man with a lot of money and asked Mom and Dad to look for a man like that for you. That's why Mom and Dad went through all the effort to get this meeting ready for you so that you could see the guy they think you'll like.
And at the time, the goal was to get married to a good-looking man with a lot of money. But look, after making such a big deal out of it, I ran into the man I am destined for. That's when I realized everything I needed to. It's not about money when it comes to marriage. It's all about the love and care that they show you.
Please don't tell me you went out and found yourself a male host and are planning to marry him over one time of him showing you some attention?
What? Why do you know about something like that? I never told anyone in the family, including you, that I've been paying to see male hosts.
There was something that had fallen right in front of your bedroom door. A card that you must have received from one of those hosts, and it was bedazzled. Also, you've been recently coming home at like 3 or 4 in the morning pretty often. You often smell of pure liquor every time. I knew right away what was going on there.
Wow, you're like a detective.
As long as the both of you actually love one another, that's fine. But before you run off with a man like that, you need to deal with the other responsibilities you have, please. You have a meeting with a man you were asking Mom and Dad to look for, right? You need to go to both Mom and Dad and that man and apologize to them before saying you're no longer interested. That's the least you can do for them all.
What? I'm not doing any of that. I can apologize to them all I want, but they're going to be pissed at me for this. So that's why I'd like you to go to all of them and tell them that I'm not coming today and that I'm sorry about it.
Huh? Why do I have to do something like that for you?
Well, you're my older sister, and your job is to take responsibility for your cute little sister. So with that, please take care of things back home. Today I have a date with Jake at Mouse World. Hey, Helena, please listen. I finally got something from Cassidy. She told me that she's not coming to today's meeting at all now. She said she found herself the man she's destined for and will be marrying him.
Just a second ago, she was telling me all about that. It seems as though the male host she's been going out with recently has taken a hold of her heart.
A male host? The man she's destined for is a male host of all people?
She said she finally came around to realizing that love is more important than money. So because of that, she wanted to tell you to cancel the meeting today with the man you had planned for her, and to do it as soon as possible. And after today, you should probably go apologize to him for it.
But... I could never go through with canceling this meeting now. The man I'd prepared for her is someone I had to pull a lot of strings with to get to go to this meeting. He happens to be a businessman that's helping run his family's company right now. And on top of that, he happens to be the son of a very important customer to your dad. So there's no way I'm going to be able to cancel this meeting on him now.
Wait, really? Then we're going to have to go and get Cassidy and have her go to meet him right away. I'll tell her to go back home right now.
No, it's no use trying to do that with her now. I'm not even able to get her to read the texts I'm sending to her anymore.
What?
I might have tried too hard to get a hold of her and really drove her off. The last thing she said to me was that if I'm going to be so upset about her, then she's not coming back home. And since that text, she hasn't read anything and won't pick up her phone to my calls either. Your dad has even tried calling her and she won't pick up for him either.
No way! She's not reading any more of my texts that I've sent. I think she's gone and blocked me, actually.
I knew this would happen with her. If this is how things are going to be, then it's up to you. I want you to go to that man we have waiting. I want you to go and meet with that CEO's son right now for your sister.
Huh? Why do I have to go see him?
You're already old enough now, and this is the perfect chance for you to find a good man to marry. He happens to be the son of a CEO and helps run the family business with his dad. If you and him get along, then you'll be set for life. He's in his 50s now, but he is a good-looking man, and I think you'll like him.
Hold your horses. He's in his 50s right now? I'm only 28 years old, Mom.
You'll be fine. Karen happens to be married to a man who is 45 years older than her. Compared to her, you're only around 22 years younger than him, so you're fine.
That does not make me feel any better about seeing him. And the other thing is that I'm not even wanting to get married right now.
Oh, just shut up already and get yourself prepared to go see him. Your little sister went and canceled last minute on him, and you, being her older sister, means you have to take over for her. It's your job.
Huh?
You're the older sister, right? If your little sister doesn't want to do something anymore, then you step in to do it for her. That's what it means to be an older sister.
For crying out loud, Mom, ever since I was little, you've always been forcing me to do everything for her, all because I'm her older sister. I'm tired of having to be the one to clean up after all of Cassidy's messes.
Excuse me?
I never thought the day would come where you'd actually force me to clean up a mess like this for her. Having to go out with the man she was crying for? Who the hell have you thought I am this whole time, Mom? Every dang time my little sister causes trouble or makes an accident, you send me in to clean up the mess. I'm not Cassidy's janitor.
What is with that attitude of yours? When have I ever treated you like her janitor?
You've been treating me like that ever since she was born. Every time she got yelled at in school, and you blamed me for it, saying I wasn't watching her close enough. Why the hell did I have to act like her parent at school and apologize for everything she did? And what about the times that Cassidy would break her friend's toys? You would blame me for not being there to manage how she handled the toys. And then would take my allowance away and use it to pay for new toys. I'm sick and tired of being there to take blame for everything she does.
Shut up right now! This is what it means to be an older sister. Now you cut it out with all that back-talking and get your ass ready to go see that man. If you don't, I'm going to have you kicked out of this house.
What did you say to me?
You are too old now to not be married yet, and instead all you've been doing is living in your parents' house. If you want to keep living your life like that, the least you can do is shut up and be useful to your parents. You are going to see that man now that Cassidy isn't going. Do you hear me, Helena? I want you to make everything work with him and make him your husband so that you don't have to rely on your dad and I anymore. And once you and him have your marriage, I want you sending your dad and I $2,000 every month.
Huh? Enough! Since when?
Since when what?
Since when did this become about me sending you guys any money? This is the first time I'm hearing about it.
I was expecting my young and pretty Cassidy to be the one to marry that man, but now I'm no longer able to get any response from her. So I'm going to make you responsible for her actions, and we'll have you marry him now and send us our money. You marry that man, and you pay us every month as a way of being as good of a daughter to us as Cassidy was. Helena, today I'm going to be coming back to Mom and Dad's house.
Cassidy?
Long time no see, right? Have you been doing okay?
Where have you been all this time? Ever since that day you never talked to me. We've had no clue about where you went. I thought you died or been kidnapped or something. Yet after 5 years, you're just gonna come back to Mom and Dad's like nothing ever happened?
Man, I'm sorry about whatever happened back then. I guess I pissed Mom and Dad off a lot more than I'd first imagined. I was too afraid to go back home to them, so that day I chose to start living with my boyfriend.
Boyfriend? Are you talking about the male host you were after then?
That's right. I went and stayed at Jake's house. Then he and I got engaged, but then we broke up. But then we got back together again. A lot has happened in the past 5 years. But the next big thing that's happened is I've become pregnant with his kid. That's why I've planned to tell all of you guys about how we've gotten married and are having a baby when I'm home.
What? You got married and now you're pregnant?
So much has happened to me that I'm sure you're shocked, right? When I showed Mom and Dad my big belly, they were both just as shocked as you are.
You showed them your belly already. Wait, so then you're already at the house then?
That's what I've been trying to say. And that's why I said starting today, I'd be back in their house. Just a bit ago, I got back from my 5 years vacation. I was assuming they would never let me back into the house again, but they both cried when they saw me and were so happy.
I'm sure they were. For some reason or another, Mom and Dad just love you so much that they'd do anything for you. And while you've been gone, you got married and are going to give birth to their grandchild. All of their wishes as your parents have come true by this point.
And this is all thanks to you, Helena. Thank you so much for being a single woman this whole time. Because of that, both Mom and Dad were able to let me right into the house without even thinking about it.
Huh?
Man, I was surprised by that. I had given you the chance to land yourself a man with all that money and a very bright future. But he told you no when you went to see him? You were told that you weren't his type by an old geezer in his 50s? That pretty much means you're screwed as a woman.
What? Well, he was expecting to be marrying a 22-year-old woman who never had any experience with a man before, and that's what Mom told him. However, I happened to be 28 at the time, and that wasn't part of the deal, so of course he'd say no to me.
And since then, you've been alone with not a single man interested in you, right? That is too crazy. No wonder Mom and Dad were so happy to have me come back to them after 5 years. Mom told me she was getting so fed up with a worthless daughter like you who never did anything for her parents. She then told me that she never expected to see her baby's face again, so this is the happiest she's felt in a long time.
That's just like Mom and Dad to be the most cruel people in the family. I never turned out to be the child they wanted, so they abandoned me and put all their love and care into you.
And so, Helena? About them not caring about you any from today, you're no longer allowed back in this house. I'm going to make sure that the parasite who has been living off her parents for far too long without ever finding herself a man or making any kids is gone for good.
Huh?
Well, Mom and Dad both told me that it would be wonderful if after giving birth to my baby, I just lived with them forever. So I gave my man a call about it. And he told me that if things are going okay after the birth, it would be totally okay to live with my parents. So that means he's going to need room for all his things in this house too.
So what you're saying is that in order to accommodate your husband now, you're going to give him my room?
That's right. I'm so sorry that I'm always so selfish and both Mom and Dad do everything for me. But you've always been such a loser ever since you were a little girl, so it's not my fault everyone has grown tired of you and wants you gone.
Huh?
I'm going to take all your crap now and throw it outside the house for you, all right? A parasite your age needs to learn that you don't get access to everything anymore. Especially when your cute and loved little sister needs it more. So it's time for you to go. I really hope that you can end up like me soon, finding yourself a good husband and a house to live in.
I'm not living in that house anymore. I live with my husband in a high-rise apartment now.
What?
So go ahead and live with Mom and Dad again. Do whatever the heck you want, really. All of that has nothing to do with me. So have fun moving your husband into their house as well.
What? Husband? And high-rise apartment? Helena, have you already started to have early onset dementia or something? You're a single woman, so you don't have a husband. And there's no way you'd ever afford to live in one of those kinds of apartments. That is so insane of you to say something like that I just peed myself a little laughing.
I'm sorry, but nothing about this is insane. It's all very, very real. I moved out of Mom and Dad's house long ago, actually.
Huh? What are you going on about? You have been living with Mom and Dad all your life, right? You told everyone that the only way you'd be moving out of their house is if you got married, right?
And that was the plan, but I got kicked out of the house by Mom and Dad. After you ran away, they forced me to go and meet the man you were supposed to see. But that old guy told me I wasn't his type and left. Mom and Dad had been hoping that one of their daughters would end up with a man loaded with money, but I wasn't able to achieve that for them. So Mom told me that she never wanted to see my face again. And that's when I got kicked out of the house.
What?
Of course, by that point, they had gotten on my last nerves, so I jumped on what she was wanting from me and said I would never come back again. And ever since that day, I've not once gone back to see them.
Is that right? But in your room that you were living in, all your things are in here. All your clothing and your bags, makeup, all of it is in here. Yet, you're telling me you don't live here anymore?
They told me to leave their site when they were out of the house right after that 50-year-old left. At that point, I was so fed up with everyone that I didn't even go home to grab any of my things. After that, I started renting a small apartment and had to buy all the things I needed back.
No way.
Then a little while after all that, I met someone amazing and we ended up getting married. But actually, I still haven't gotten around to telling Mom or Dad about it. I'm sorry, but could you go and tell those two about it? Let them know that their older daughter's been married for some years now, and explain to them that my husband and I have a very nice high-rise apartment now, and I'll not be going back to them. Then you can finish by saying that you and your husband are totally welcome to move into their house now.
Wait. No way. Why did you never ever tell something so important to Mom and Dad? Couldn't you have at least told Mom that you got married? And what do you mean you both live in a high-rise apartment? I still don't get that. What kind of man did you end up marrying?
He's just your average office worker, but both him and myself have been doing very well in the fields we work. So the money that each of us bring in each year is comparable to that of a doctor.
Comparable to that of a doctor?
You think I'd ever in my entire life want to tell those two dumbasses about the wonderful life I'm living now? Those two wanted me to marry a man in his 50s so that they could have access to all his money, right? And when that didn't work out, after forcing me to take your place and meeting him, they cast me out of the house. I was worried that the only thing that would come from telling them about marriage was trouble.
I get that, but...
That's all I have to say now. And let me just say, don't bother asking me for any gifts because you're having a baby. I plan on cutting ties between myself and all of you.
Hey, Helena, I heard about you from Cassidy. What the hell were you thinking not telling your parents that you got married? And what's this about you living in a high-rise apartment now? Why have you not been telling your parents about any of that important information?
That's because this information is too important for two dumbasses to know about. Did you not understand that?
Excuse me? You... Who the hell do you think you are calling your own parents dumbasses?
I don't think of myself as anyone special. Just you happen to be two dicks that think they can treat their older daughter like garbage because she didn't get the old creepy 50-year-old to marry her. I think calling you both dumbasses is the perfect description, to be honest.
At that time, both your dad and I were very tired. That day your little sister just vanished on us, and we had to make sure to take good care of that man because he's the son of your dad's customer. That's why we kind of took out all our anger on you. We didn't actually think that a man like him would be interested in you and turn you away.
I'm not here to listen to your excuses, Mom, and it's not just that that makes you and Dad dumbasses. Ever since I was little, you have both completely ignored me for Cassidy and made me responsible for all of the mistakes she made. When you blew up on me the last time, I had had enough myself, and that's why I chose to never go back to you guys. No matter how much you try to apologize and excuse yourself for the way you treated me, I'm not going to let you guys back in my life.
Don't say something so depressing. How about we celebrate both yours and Cassidy's wedding? We can have both your guys' husbands come, and we can all eat delicious food together while sharing good memories we have. I really want to meet your husband, Helena.
Huh?
Oh, can you please at least bring him over to your parents' house just one time? I'll get all kinds of good foods made up for you two, and I'll even prepare a bed for you both to sleep in. It would be wonderful to have the both of you.
What is this all about? Your favorite baby, Cassidy, has come back home to you now, so you don't need me anymore. You're gonna have a grandbaby here soon as well. And from what I've heard, Cassidy and her husband will be moving in with you guys long term, right? I'll most definitely not be bringing my husband back to a place like that, so no thank you.
Then if I make sure Cassidy and them don't live with us, will you come by and stay a while? I really want you to introduce us to your husband who is able to afford a high-rise apartment. If you're able to promise us that you'll bring him over, then I'll do my very best to kick Cassidy out of here. And if you find that you're more happy back here, you are more than welcome to move back home to this house and live with us again. As long as your husband comes too.
What? You don't want to have Cassidy and her husband come live with you? She told me you were so happy to have her home.
And at first I was super happy to see her again. But I never thought that you'd hide from your dad and I the fact that you got married. And, well, without the knowledge of you having a husband like that, I thought that Cassidy was the only one who had a chance at seeing a grandbaby and having someone come and live with us again. But I never knew that her husband used to be a male host at some point. And from what she's told me, he's not even working anymore and just stays home all day. They want to come and live with your dad and I here, but don't plan to give us any money in return. Now that I'm aware of this, I don't want any of them living in my house at all.
What?
At the time, Cassidy came in saying she just got married and was bringing us our first grandbaby. And along with that, she told us the man she married had connections to Dad's work, so of course I was okay with them both coming to live with us. Your dad and I really thought she got married to such a wonderful man.
But it turned out that the man she married is a jobless ex-male host.
And before knowing about any of that, we thought things would go perfectly. We assumed that her husband had money and all that, so we already started to talk about having the house updated and expanded in order to make it all comfortable for us. Her husband having such a job would mean he could afford it, and so I asked her if he would be able to pay for all that work to be done to the house. And that's when she said he doesn't have that kind of money. I was wondering how he didn't have the money to afford such work, and so I asked about it. She told me he wasn't a CEO or anything just yet, but had plans to start his company really soon. She told me he's currently unemployed, but soon he will start his own male host club, like a men's strip club, and make that his business.
So he plans to start his own business.
I was so happy to have Cassidy back in our lives again, but I'm a bit disappointed by all the horrible news she told us after. But you're in a totally different situation than her, right? Your dad and I will apologize for everything we did to you in the past. We can make up again, and you can live with us again, right?
Who the hell would do that with you two? I have no plans of letting you guys meet my husband, and I sure as hell am not going to go back and live with all of you. Your younger daughter isn't doing good enough, so you switch to your older daughter. Your older daughter isn't doing good enough, so you switch back to your younger daughter. And then the cycle starts all over again. Back and forth, back and forth. How many more times are you and Dad going to keep going back and forth between which daughter you want to care more about?
Hey, we're not going back and forth like that!
Don't ever talk to me again. I'll never tell you anything else about the life my husband and I live, so don't bother me anymore. I've chosen to live the rest of my life believing that I never had parents or a sister.
This is the worst. Because of you, I've been kicked out of Mom and Dad's house. What the hell do you think you're doing?
Huh?
Mom and Dad were so happy to have me back home with them again. But the moment they found out that my husband used to be a host and is now jobless, they turned me away. She told me that they're having you move back in with them, so I needed to leave now. They won't even let me have my baby here with them and want me to leave.
They kicked you out already? I have no plans of going back there, and I thought I made that clear already.
Because of this, I need you to tell me where your apartment is right now. I'm coming to your place to relax and have my baby there. That's what I've decided, and nothing's going to change my mind about it.
What?
Had you just stayed single instead of getting married, then Mom and Dad would have never kicked me out of their house because I would have been their only hope. You're going to take responsibility for this.
Shut the hell up, you idiot! I want you to go screw yourself with that responsibility and then walk your ass back to your home and hope that you can still have a baby after being screwed that hard.
What? Shut up! Do something about this right now! You're my older sister, right? I'm not kidding when I say that my husband has no job right now, and that means no money at all. So as my older sister, you should be helping your little sister and her husband in trying times like these.
Go screw yourself. I'm blocking you right now, so have fun crying to nobody.
Huh? You're blocking me? Wait a freaking minute. There is no way you can block me right now, you jerk.
Then watch this.
Wait! Hey! There is no way you just blocked me. Hey! You read these messages I'm sending to you right now. Helena, please! I'm sorry for everything, and I'll apologize to you in person if you just please let me come to your apartment. I don't have anywhere else to go right now. Helena, please! Helena, please don't leave me!
And just like that, I was able to show Cassidy that I could and would indeed be blocking her. After doing that, we never got any crap from her again, and my husband and I were able to continue living our lives in peace. From some rumors I overheard, it seems that Cassidy and her husband had to end up moving into a dirt-cheap apartment that doesn't even have its own bathroom. They began to fight in that tiny apartment, all while Cassidy has still been carrying her baby, and she makes sure every day to tell her husband that she's realized that money is far more important than love and destiny and tells him to go get a job. But because of their constant fights, things between them only continue to get worse. Recently, her husband stopped coming home to her, and she would cry on the floor asking why she was given a life like this. When it comes to my parents, my dad sent me a few emails saying that they want me to move back home with them now that they have gotten rid of Cassidy. Or if that's not what I want, then I could at least let them come live with my husband and I in the apartment. Of course, I never responded to any of those emails, and soon I'm thinking of blocking my dad as well. But until then, I'm going to continue reading through these emails so that I can enjoy watching those two morons freak out like their lives depend on me.
Thank you for watching till the end. If you felt good about this video, like the video. If you didn't like it, let me know why in the comments. Subscribe too. Your likes and subs lead to our motivation. We have so many videos on our channel as well, so go ahead and take a look. See you in the next video.
Taylor, is it really true that John's condition has gotten even worse now? I heard that things have only gotten worse, so I needed to make sure that it was true. He has gotten worse. This weekend he had to be taken into the ICU for his health. But right now he's doing a lot better again and has been moved back into his room to be looked after. As of right now, he's even able to have small conversations again. What? He was able to make a comeback from that? Huh? I'm really happy to see he's made a comeback. Same here. But it's going to be some time before there's any hope of him getting out of here. Do you think you have any time this weekend to come in and see him? He would like to see all of his grandkids. I'm sure that would make my dad really happy seeing you all, and it might even make him recover even more quickly. I don't want to go see him. Hospitals have this smell to them that makes me feel sick, so it's not going to happen. What? Also, for people like him being that sick, they tend to get really thin because they can't eat as much anymore, and that's just scary to me. If I were to show the kids their grandpa while he's in that state, they might be traumatized for the rest of their life. So that's what this is about. Then how about just you and your husband come to see John this weekend? Just come in for a few minutes to see and talk to him, and that should be enough. Even the doctor is saying that would be really good for John to see some of his family soon. No way am I going there. I hate going to the hospital, and Greg is really busy with his job right now. We don't have the time or want to go and see John at the hospital right now. Are you sure? Also, there's the whole thing with his health getting even worse recently, so perhaps it's time we start preparing for the worst. Do you have any idea where John's bank information and checkbook might be? Do you know how much money he's ready to be given away as inheritance? And do you know how much he has in terms of stocks right now? What? He's going to be kicking the can pretty soon here, so it's best we start preparing for his inheritance to come through. I'm sure he's totally fine just having you at the hospital watching over him, so you can continue doing that if you want. I'll manage everything that has to do with his money and properties, all right? Don't say something so messed up as that, Brinley. What do you mean he's going to be kicking the can soon anyway? Right now, your father-in-law is trying his best to fight through this sickness. He is going to make it through this and come back home to see everyone really soon. So would you quit talking about how he's going to die like that? I understand how you want to feel about all of this, I really do. But I think it's best that we prepare for the worst, just in case. We wouldn't want to be wasting our time later on with all this when we'll want to be focused on mourning him, right? You stop all that right now. There's no point in dealing with any of his money right now anyway, right? You're too busy to come and see him in the hospital, so you must be too busy to deal with any of that right now. So leave all of this talk about his inheritance be. Greg, where are you right now? I have been telling you to come to the hospital as quickly as you can. Your dad has finally gotten out of this hospital, but as soon as we got him home, he collapsed again.
Do you have any idea what time it is? I get that it's an emergency for you, but come on, it's 3 a.m. for me. Once I've gotten my beauty sleep, I'll come to the hospital. I'm sure it's just the same old thing with him anyway, and he'll be around for me still when I get up. Once things are all handled over there and I'm awake from my sleep, I'll be over there.
I'm not messing around right now, Greg. You get your butt in here right now and see your dad. He is not doing well at all, and his breathing is getting really shallow. I think this might be it for him.
What?
So please hurry up and get to the hospital. This is not the time for you to be sleeping, all right? This might just be your last chance to ever talk to your dad again.
Are you kidding me? In other words, this means my time has come as well.
Excuse me?
Nothing, Mum. Don't worry about it. I'll be on my way to the hospital right now. I'm going out to the car right now, so just wait for me a little longer.
Hey, Brinley? What the heck do you think you're doing? What do you think you're doing kicking me out of there like that? The funeral is going to be starting really soon, you know? Hurry up and let me back into the building right now. I'm sorry, Taylor. There is a lot of appeal in this funeral for your son and I, so can you please just shut up and go home? Greg and I are going to be handling everything from now on, so you can go back home and mourn your husband in silence. Also, you happen to be in our way today, so please just get lost. I'm in the way? What the hell are you and Greg planning to do today with me not at my husband's funeral? I understand that Greg is the oldest of my kids, but he does not get to make the rules like that. Especially when he has no idea who all is going to be there for the funeral today. I'm sure he has an idea of what to expect, so don't worry about him. What? And what is this about today having a big appeal to the both of you? Do you both not understand that today is the funeral of my husband? Your guys' father? And I'm saying that because of that, today will have a lot of appeal to it. The CEO of the company has passed away, so now it's time for his oldest son, Greg, to take the reins and run the company. In other words, today is the day for him to make a name for himself. Huh? Of course, there will be plenty of other family members here today, but there's also going to be all sorts of bigwigs from all kinds of companies here to mourn your husband. So this is Greg's chance to make himself look good to all of them and secure his future as the next CEO. And standing next to him today will be me, the CEO's wife. I'm so glad on a day like today, both Greg and I went to the salon before this and got ourselves looking all sharp and ready for what we have to show off today. So this is what you've both been waiting for all along? You both even went to the salon together before this and got your hair done and everything? Would you please cut the crap right now, Brinley? The point of this funeral is to mourn the loss of my husband. It is not a place for you and Greg to be showing off and trying to make yourselves look good for the business. I have no idea what's gotten into the both of you thinking this funeral is meant to be a place where you need to appeal to all of those other company men. And the fact that Greg said it's his time as well now? Please do not ruin my husband's funeral like this just for your guys' selfish desires. The only person here that needs to cut the crap is you, Taylor. Your husband just died on us, and the next person in power is going to be your oldest son, Greg. Do you really think it's okay for you to be talking to the most powerful man in this family's wife like that right now? Huh? I totally understand that you still have a lot of emotions flowing through you as your husband only just passed away. But could you please pull yourself back to reality for me? After your husband's gone, it's the oldest son's turn. And since that's just happened, you are no longer the queen of the family. All you are now is some powerless old woman that we could honestly do better off without. Excuse me? I'm sure the only reason you have all that confidence in yourself right now is due to the power that your husband gave you. But those days are over for you now, so please give it up and let us take the wheel. Your days of being the ruler in the family and telling me what to do have died along with your husband's days of being the CEO. And since when have I been telling you what to do, Brinley? Huh? Tell me when you haven't been. How about that? Telling me to come see your husband as he was dying, even though I don't care for him, and telling me to bring my kids along to see him, even though his sickly body would have scared the crap out of them. Seriously, every time you tried telling me to do things, it really pissed me off. It's a waste of time to go out and see some old geezer that's about to die. Why would I ever want to do that? Did you really think that by having Greg and I there to talk to him and see him with you, he'd start to recover from whatever BS sickness he had? What the hell do you think you're saying right now? What do I think I'm saying? Well, I'll tell you. But not with words. You'll just have to wait and see, because right now I can't handle you in that attitude anymore. The funeral's about to start soon as well, so I don't have time to waste on you. I know we were just getting to the good stuff, but that'll have to wait. I'm finally going to be the wife of a CEO, and I can't believe just how much I am smiling. At a funeral. What? The wife of a CEO? That's right. Remember that since now your husband is dead, he's going to be leaving a lot of money behind for us. So we're going to be taking all of that money and everything, as well as taking over the company he's left for Greg. I thought that was pretty clear to you already, though. But anyway, once he's the CEO, I'm going to be the CEO's wife, right? Did you know that ever since I was a little girl, I had always wanted to be the wife to some super wealthy CEO? So now that my dream is finally coming true for me, I just can't stop myself from smiling. I think I've had enough of you both. Especially you, though, Brinley. Kicking me out of the funeral and then taking it over as though it's meant to be about you both. And not just that, but now you think you have access to all my husband's money and his company, which has led you to grin like some maniac? You really are such a shameless woman. Well now, I'm going to have to hide this smile for the time being and put on a more serious and saddened face to trick the masses. It would be pretty wrong for me to be smiling at a funeral of all places, right? Well, you've been pretty messed up this whole time, so why hide it at all? I'm trying to text Greg right now, but he seems to be ignoring me. For some reason, I'm getting the feeling that all this isn't going to play out in your guys' favor, though. Now, I'd like you to leave the premises at once and head back home with your mouth shut for us. The CEO of the company has struck out, and the next up to bat is his oldest son. And me being his wife means that I'll become the wife of a CEO. Greg isn't even a part of the company. What? Yet you still believe that he's going to be able to get into the company and become the CEO of it right away? You must be so excited about becoming the wife of a CEO that you totally forgot about common sense. I'm sorry, but the next CEO of the company has already been decided. And of course, since Greg hasn't been working for the company at all, he is not going to be the CEO. If you understand that now, I want you to open the door for me and let me back inside. What do you mean he's not been working for the company? Greg has told me that ever since he graduated from college, he's been working for his dad's company. And when was it that he told you that? It's been 3 years now since Greg was fired from his dad's company. Huh? He was fired? Yep. He was awful at all of the work he was left to do, and that really started to piss his dad off a lot. Of course, when he got fired, it was during a time where he was supposed to be taking care of a really important customer to the company. But he cried about having to do all that work and bolted from his responsibilities. That then pushed his dad over the edge, and he said he was no longer going to deal with Greg anymore. Although my husband's first thoughts were to make Greg the next CEO someday, those thoughts quickly disappeared, and the next thing he knew, he was firing Greg. What? Wait. I never heard anything about all those events. Also, Greg has been going to work like nothing's changed forever now. Perhaps right after being fired, he was able to find some other company that hired him. I'm not sure where he could be working now, but Greg is your guys' oldest son, right? And that means he should be the next in line to take on the company from your husband. Nope. John has made it very clear to everyone at the company that the next person to be the CEO will be his son, Marcus, Greg's little brother. John told everyone that he couldn't trust his oldest son with taking on the company, so he'd be letting his second oldest handle everything next. Huh? He's letting Marcus be the next CEO? And he told that to everyone in the company already? He even wrote that down in his will. What? You were the one that told me to start thinking about all of that while my husband was still in the hospital, right? About things like his inheritance and properties? I took that as meaning I did need to get on top of some of those things, so I went and started talking to John about everything he would be leaving behind. Also, when he was out of the hospital for a day, he got one of his lawyers to come over and we wrote a new will. And you're telling me that part of the will says for Marcus to take over the company next? Unlike his dad, Marcus is a very calm and composed man. But even so, he happens to be very good at doing business and has the proof to show for it. Even other employees within my husband's company say great things about how well he does his work. For a little while, he had only been working with his dad after Greg got fired, of course, and started learning what it means to lead a company. So this was always going to happen. Marcus becoming the next CEO. But just to make sure there'd be no hiccups, we wrote it down in John's will. You're lying. There's no way. The next CEO should be the oldest. And Greg is the oldest son to John. I've never even heard of an instance where the oldest was skipped and the next in line was given the company. Well, John had no other choice. His oldest was far less competent at his job than he had thought. Huh? I'm so happy that today Marcus wasn't able to make it to the funeral. I'm sure he feels bad about having to be in New York for a business trip and all right now, but at least he doesn't have to be here when his stupid older brother and moron sister-in-law are right now. I'm sure if he was, then things would only become more messy for him. There's no way this is happening. Even Greg was saying that his time had come to me. He was so freaking excited to be the next CEO of his dad's company. Well, I can go tell him the truth right now for you, so please let me inside the building. And honestly, I'm not going to worry too much about you both believing in a fairy tale because I want to focus on my husband's funeral. Everyone else is patiently waiting for the funeral to begin, so please let me in right now. Wait. Who cares about the funeral right now? Greg and I are far more important at the moment. This is about my dream, after all. Right now, that dream is in danger of never coming true for me. So this is not the time for people to be worried about someone who's already dead. Well, if that seems to be the case for you, then I want you to go home right now. I'm not holding back anymore. I am going to the front of the building right now, and I'll let the funeral director know that you no longer should be allowed in this funeral. Actually, I'll let them know that both you and my oldest son are not allowed in here. Then you both can be escorted out by them.
Mum, what is all this about? Why am I not allowed to become the next CEO? It's not too late to make me the CEO yet. Tell that Marcus to let me be the CEO right now.
That Marcus happens to be the man your dad chose to make the CEO. He said so in his will. So I'm not going to just ask Marcus to give up the role his late father asked him to be in.
The frickin' will? Who cares what Dad said? He's dead now. Why can't you just let me be the CEO? It's not like he'll ever know that I was made the CEO, right?
What are you talking about, Greg? I will not allow you to talk about your dad and his final words like that.
But what's going on here is stupid. I get that Dad fired me from the company in the past, but I just assumed that after Dad died, you'd be willing to let me back into his company. I've believed this whole time that you would understand that the role of CEO should be going to the oldest son next. You're screwed up, Mum.
I'm not the one that's screwed up. It's you and your wife that are. What the hell happened to telling your wife that you were fired 3 years ago? Why were you trying to hide all of that from her?
I wasn't trying to hide anything from her. I just got lucky and made the money we needed from some slot machines.
Slot machines? In other words, you gambled for the money you needed? Hold it right there. So you're telling me that you didn't even end up getting hired by another company after being fired? What the hell have you been doing ever since your dad fired you?
I gave up on working and have been making all the money I need from slot machines. I've been on a massive winning streak for a while now, so I brought in more than enough money to support both myself and Bryn Lee.
You are a dad, Greg. You have children. And yet you're telling me that this whole time you've been risking your whole family's future on some slot machines? What the hell have you been thinking?
I thought that after Dad died, I'd be able to get back to work for his company. Hell, I thought I'd be back in his company long before he died. I thought me trying to act all sad and depressed around him would get him to hire me back because he felt bad. Yet for the past few years, he never talked to me, so I never had a chance to lie to him about how I was feeling. This year, he decided to get sick. It's not my fault that I had to continue gambling while Dad was fooling around by not ever talking to me and then getting deathly ill.
For Christ's sake.
Yet now I have to sit here listening to you telling me that Marcus is getting the company. If that's how things are going to be, then who cares about that stupid company? Just give me the dang money he's left for me, and I'll shut up about everything. I'll make sure to use all the money I'm getting to continue my winning streak at the casino. Did you know that I've started to go into debt waiting for Dad to get back to me about letting me work for him again? I've had to take out loans in order to keep playing the slots. If I don't start breaking even here, things are going to become really bad for me.
You've been taking out loans now?
I'm sure that Dad has loads of money in his savings that will be coming to me, right? Yeah, half will be going to you, of course, but the other half will be for his sons. But Marcus is going to be getting the company, so you can give my part and his to me. He's not going to need any of that money, right? So give me the money, and while you're at it, give me whatever stocks he has as well, right?
Greg, I have some very bad news for you. Your dad doesn't actually have all that much money left after he passed away.
Huh? What the hell are you saying, Mum? There's no way he doesn't have tons of money still. He was the one that built that company and has been the CEO of it for over 40 years. You both happen to have that massive house, and he has multiple other properties. And what about all those high-end cars he drives? How the hell are you able to tell me he doesn't have much of anything when he's got all of that?
I'm sure you knew about how your dad ran his company all by himself, right? And of course he has a lot of land and some pretty nice cars that he drove around a lot when he was younger. But over time he's been putting all those things into his company, and now the cars and land are considered company assets. He left me with enough money to keep me happy, but the rest has all been put into the company and is not included in the will.
Huh? Then, what's going to happen with all the money I owe? I thought Dad would have hundreds of thousands to give to me after he died. I just assumed that I'd be able to pay off all the loans after he died and be able to play more slots without going into any more debt. I thought this would be it for me, and I'd never have to worry about going into debt or having to work a job again.
You can think about what you need to do next by yourself. If you can't find a way to help your family by yourself, then you open up to Brinley about the whole truth and have her help you. And as for that debt, well, you were the one that got yourself into that mess, so you're going to have to try something in order to pay it all off. I might be getting a lot of money from your dad, but it's only enough to keep myself happy through my later years. I have something I really need to ask from you, Taylor. Can you please make Greg the CEO of the company? I'm sure that everyone within that company, as well as all the customers, want him to be the next CEO. I know for a fact if you don't make the oldest son the next CEO, then you'll be making the whole company look bad. Well, listen to this, Brinley. All of the employees within the company, as well as all the other businesses that are customers to it, have asked for Marcus to be the CEO. He's already been around all of them for years now, and every single person trusts that Marcus can get the job done right. But there is one very important problem with Marcus. He isn't even married yet, so what's going to happen to the company after he's passed away or retires? That's why right now you need to take this moment and make Greg the CEO of that company before it's too late. Huh? You're worried about what happens to the company after Marcus? I'm sure that Marcus might be good at the work he does, but he doesn't have a woman, and it seems like he never will. As far as I'm aware, he's never even had a girlfriend before, right? So there's no hope for him ever getting married now. And that means he's never going to have any kids who will be around to take on the company after him. But when it comes to your oldest son and his wife, they happen to have a really, really cute little boy, right? If you make Greg the CEO of the company right now, then there's hope that the company will continue on in this family's history. So you're trying to use your own son as a way of getting the company? Well, Brinley, did you know that you have no voice in telling Marcus who he can and can't choose as the next CEO of the company? He doesn't have to give it to anyone in the family next. He has every right to pass it on to one of his best employees, or he might even want to sell the company to someone else. So, nobody, not myself, nor you, nor Greg, has any right telling him what to do with the company when he retires. I probably won't even be around by that point, so there's nothing I can do about it. No way! I've heard about the debt your husband is in right now. I understand that you and him are trying to do everything you can to get any money left by my husband, but you need to give up. Don't tell us to give up like that! It's not as simple as you might think. Right now, our lives are on the line. Right now, Greg is in debt $30,000 to loan sharks. Really? That much? You have to do something to help us pay all of it off. This is your son's debt we're talking about. Also, I happen to be suffering a lot because of it, so as my mother-in-law, you need to help me, please. You shut the hell up right now, you complaining witch. You are both frickin' adults now with children and need to learn how to take responsibility for yourselves. I don't give a crap about that guy's debt, and I never will. Also, he happens to be your husband, so do your dang job and support him through this tough time. Back when my husband was building his company, he got into $100,000 worth of loans, and we worked together to pay all that off. So you can handle $30,000, you baby. You might have been able to handle all that, but I can't. I might be his wife, but I just can't. Then go ahead and divorce the sad loser. It's your freaking life after all, so you decide what you want with it. Now that's it from me. I can sympathize with all the crap you're going through right now, but you have to take responsibility for it and handle it. But wait, Taylor. Are you going to leave the both of us? Aren't you going to help us out at least a little? You know dang well I'm leaving you both. I hate you guys with every bit of my heart. What? You tried to kick me out of my husband's funeral. You then went around smiling about the fact that you could use his funeral to make yourselves look good. I don't plan on ever forgiving either one of you for something as cruel as that. Yet now you're asking for my help? Absolutely not. No, wait, Taylor, that was, No, I'm going now. I don't hold any of this against my little grandkids you've given to me, but you and Greg deserve to receive all of my hate. So I really hope that you two can figure something out, for their sakes. And after that, those two idiots went to Marcus begging for him to help them on their hands and knees while they both sobbed and sobbed. So, being the kind and reserved man that he is, Marcus went and brought them into one of the factories he started to run. At first, both Greg and Brinley weren't given a very good wage or much time off from work, and they complained about it a lot. Greg would even take it up to the factory's manager at times and say that he was the brother of the CEO and deserved better. To which the manager would reply, saying that the CEO gave him permission to fire those two at any time he wanted. After saying that, Greg never once complained about the job again, and both he and Brinley have continued their work in that factory. According to some rumors, that manager actually went to school with Brinley, where she would bully him all the time. So who's to say for sure what kind of hell he's putting her through right now there? Well, as for the time being, those two idiots are going to be sweating their butts off for years to come, trying to make whatever money they can in order to pay off Greg's debt.
Thank you for watching all the way until the end. If you felt good after watching this video, please like the video. If not, please leave a comment and give us your feedback. Also, don't forget to subscribe. Your comments and likes help this channel grow. We hope you enjoy our other stories as well.